Well, good afternoon, Seattle. My name is Ian Turner, and you are listening to the To Be Determined podcast, the only podcast in the universe that covers all things Seattle sports and the sports world at large, and mixes it with nerd pop culture and finds out the intersection in between. I am, of course, one of your lovely hosts, the man who never skips leg day, all mass, all ass, all multi-class. My name's Ian Turner, and I would like to introduce my coworker, this is Aaron.
My dog took 3 massive shits today. So, yes, I don't work out. Ian works out. We are doing this podcast. We don't really know what the fuck we're doing, and that is why we are TBD. Let's talk about who we are, Ian. What do you do? Not so much your job, but what do you do in your life? What are these people that need?
Right, so as Aaron says, I'm a person that requires introduction because you might not know anything about me.
If you didn't get enough introduction on Ian.
Yes. So things I'm into,
Teams go.
My favorite teams are the Seattle Seahawks, the New York Yankees, the Portland Trail Blazers, the Oregon Ducks. Am I missing anything?
You say New York Giants? I don't think
New York Giants. But yeah, if we're going to do multiple teams in each league. Yeah, and then Giants, and then I'm sure I'm forgetting other things.
Well, then they're not favorites.
Yeah. So those are my favorite teams. I'm really into sports. I'm a software engineer by trade. I have to say that. It's part of who I am. And I also...
You're programmed to say that.
I'm also massively into nerd culture, and so I'm your favorite rapper's favorite rapper when it comes to Star Wars. I know more about Star Wars than you. I'm just gonna say it. I was reading the books before you were born, even if you were born in the 40s, before Star Wars came out. I was reading the Star Wars books, so I'm quite partial to everything that's coming out. All the news.
As a layman, how are you reading the Star Wars books before the Star Wars movies came out?
Because it was a long time ago, and all this.
So you're from a galaxy far, far away.
We'll leave that to a later date to decide.
Okay.
So, Aaron, why don't you take this time to introduce yourself?
What do I like, and who do I like?
Yeah, what is your teams?
So I'm born and raised 206, unlike my cohort over here, Ian Turner, you were born in Manhattan, raised in Jazzy.
I was born in Secaucus, which is right across. It's in New Jersey.
Okay. So you're not from New York.
I've never been from New York, and I've never said
that. But your mom and dad are from New York.
My mom and dad are from New Jersey.
Okay, so no one's from New York, and this is still about Aaron. Yeah, I'm born and raised 206. Grew up in Magnolia, then Bainbridge, where Ian moved to as a young lad. And that is where we became friends, doing a big project that involved cardboard boxes and making a boombox out of that and sitting inside. And us doing that project created a friendship that had brought us here. And here we are doing a podcast where we're going to talk about, sports and nerd culture. The sports I'm going to bring in, definitely the Sounders. I have a podcast, Sounders Scuttlebutt, that I do. I love the Lakers. That is just because my family's from Minnesota. That's watching the Sonics and the Lakers play each other throughout the 90s. I was on who is that team? My mom knew who they were, and she told me. And then there's a weird affinity. And then when you lose that other team, you definitely start following the Lakers. That is for me. But I've loved the Lakers since the late 90s. So a lot of you Seattleites might hate me for that.
You might hate me too because I'm a Blazers fan. So
yeah, but that's what makes this fun. So and if we get the Sonics back, you know it. I'm gonna be all in for it. And NHL, I'm gonna be all in for it. But mainly Lakers. I like the Vikings, but my first teams are gonna be the Sounders, Seahawks, Lakers, Mariners. I do like the Mariners, even though we're 17 years fucking dealing with bullshit.
Wow, it's 17 years.
Hey, but we did win a opening series
against the Indians, who are a good team.
Damn right they are. So, and maybe a later date we'll talk about that. Maybe we'll pepper that in a little bit here. Who knows? But mainly, we're just here to talk about what Ian and Aaron want to talk about. And if you want to listen in, here you are.
That's right, Aaron. So how this show is going to go is we're going to break it up into 2 parts. So all you
Two universes.
Exactly. And all you universe fans of one or the other can join us for one part of our episode or both or the other part.
No, you're staying the whole time.
Yeah, we just hope that you have a good time with us. So what we're going to start with is we're going to start with our sports universe. We're going to do some recaps. Some stuff has gone down this last couple of months.
Yeah, BMAC.
206 and now somewhat spread apart, our little family. And then after that, we're going to talk a little bit about some nerd pop culture. And then some episodes, we might talk about how they intersect. If one of us has a particular topic we want to talk about.
Where universes collide.
Exactly. Or if one universe needs to be highlighted, we're going to bring that up. So we hope you enjoy it. So as we were saying, there has been some upheave in the Great Northwest. Aaron, as a resident Seahawks fan, you actually played football in high school. I got into it as a fan.
You're right. I did have a jersey in high school.
He tackled Taylor Mays.
I did.
All you resident 206ers may know who that is. He played like 1 year for the Bengals.
And he played a number of years for the 49ers as well.
Did he?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
and
you were this close to.
And he was a high round. I'm not going to say which round. I don't know that much. I should because I quote unquote tackled him when he played for O'Day.
He was a top 10 round.
Yeah, he was a top 10 round. Better than either of us can say. No, I did tackle Taylor Mays when I played for the Bainbridge Spartans. We were at O'Day, and basically what it was his big thighs running into my face mask, and he tripped over me, and he was down by contact. So stats to me.
I'm gonna get you that what are they called? Like the planners that people fill out, the nerds who don't drink beer at the games and they actually fill out all the things.
Oh,
they do that for football?
Games?
Do they? It'd be really hard.
That'd be incredibly hard. That'd be incredibly hard. No, but if you just did one for me and was just like, tackle, I'd be happy with that. I'd frame that, Ian. I would appreciate that. My birthday is November 9th.
Yes. Okay, so Aaron, I'm going to do a quick overview of some of the things that happened, and I'm going to pose some questions to you. I'm going to start with some of the big losses that the Seahawks have faced this offseason. Mm-hmm. So, short list right here.
Because there's more losses than we're going to mention right now. Yeah. Obviously, we're going to bring up the things that we're concerned about as Hawk fans.
So, Aaron, the big one Aaron's talking about is Richard Sherman, but I am just going to mention him here in this list just to generally talk about the state of the team. So, off the cuff, we've got Michael Bennett, we've got Sheldon Richardson, Jimmy Graham, Paul Richardson, Richard Sherman, obviously, and then
Thomas Rawls
is now,
just happened.
He's with the Jets. Cam Chancellor might not come back. Cliff Averill might not come back. And I think that's it. So
enough to talk about. I can say real quick that Cliff and Cam are still on the cliff, if you will. They're still in the Seahawks. They're not departed, but they might.
I'm quite concerned with Cam specifically because
we have to pay his whole year.
Yeah,
now. So he's probably going to be a Seahawk because we're paying for it regardless if he's a Seahawk or not. So he's probably going to be on the team.
Yeah, keep him on the team.
But he's got a retirement guarantee.
I'm worried about him as a person. He, our friend, always brings up the fact that there's this one interview that Cam does where he's like, "What would you have done if you hadn't joined the NFL?" He's like, "Oh, I probably would have been in the Marines." He's from a good old family, just a good guy, you know. And you know, I always say there's no loyalty in sports, and so with Cam, just the way the guy plays, he leads with his head on freaking everything. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't want to see like a Nazir, what's the dude's name? Ryan Shazier from the Steelers who got paralyzed partially. Yeah. Imagine, like, I don't want to see that happen to him.
Of course, you don't want to see that happen to anybody.
Right.
But, I mean, it's the nature of the game.
Right.
And also the nature of the game is it's a business. And players stay on your team, and then they leave.
I agree. That's true.
They're on your team for a couple years. And the fact of the matter is we've lost a lot of players. And what are the biggest voids that we need to talk about right now? Let's talk about Michael Bennett's void. He played defensive end and defensive tackle. Didn't really have what's your position? I'm D-line. Mm-hmm. And he was all over the place. Mm-hmm. And with his short little shoulder pads and his tenacious D. I literally just thought of that, and that was funny. But like he's a badass.
Yeah.
He was a badass, and he's a badass off the field when it comes to the community. And we're not going to get into the bullshit.
Aaron met him once.
Yeah, I did meet him once. Work thing. He's a beautiful human being. I know that. He's a really nice guy. I met his family, and all the shit that's happening on the off the field shit currently, I don't want to talk about. He's not on our team anymore. Let the NFL, let Schefter talk about that. Let Ian Rappaport talk about that. But in terms of missing from the Seahawks, what does Michael Bennett's void mean to us right now, Ian?
So, I think that
Well, who do we still got?
Well, who do we still have? That's a great question. I think it's really time for the young guys to step up. I think Frank Clark, although not the same position, has really been probably our best draft pick in the last 3 years. I would really like to see him. Mm-hmm. You know, it's a show me year for him, if I'm not mistaken, right? It's the last year of his rookie contract.
Yep.
He should show out. You know, him and Jaron Reed. I think Jaron Reed's a close second. Alabama product, right there in the middle.
Yeah, he had a good year.
Yeah, you know, speaking of Bennett being gone, like I'm more upset about Sheldon Richardson being gone.
I am too.
He was younger. He showed great promise. He had a show me year with us last year, and we didn't sign him. So that does bum me out. But to answer your question, Nas Jones, Jaron Reed, Malik McDowell, who acts like a dumbass on.
Well, we don't even know that. We know how he acted last summer, and then we know little snidbits of what he's done. He's not involved with the Seahawks organization whatsoever. Pete Carroll has gone on the record saying, we don't know.
Yeah, and so I'm looking forward to him to show. I'm looking forward to him showing us. But here's the thing about the Seahawks.
Pause for a second. I'm looking forward to Malik McDowell maybe showing up for OTAs. Look, and if he does, then you prove your fucking worth, is my opinion on that. And if you don't, and that one day, good riddance. Get rid of him.
I think that's a little too harsh.
I don't care.
We're a 7-9 team riddled with injuries. I don't think that he's a franchise saver. I think it's not a zero-sum game. If he shows up and he plays really well and he can add to the team, fine.
Yeah, if he shows up and plays really well. But I'm saying you need someone on your team that won't jump on an ATV and be a dumbass and then afterwards get arrested in Atlanta, Georgia. Like, this guy's ridiculous right now. Like and that I don't want to.
Well, here's what needs to happen. Then Pete Carroll really needs to go back to his roots of what made him a great coach to begin with. What made him sit Matt Flynn and start Russell Wilson. He would never have done that to Richard Sherman. Like a lot of people got seniority. I'm not saying there's a player in our reserves that was better than Richard, but I don't believe or Michael Bennett. I don't think or Jimmy Graham. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't think he ever would have done that. He needs to get back to hardcore competition. And so let the dude show up. If he doesn't, fine.
And that's what I guess I mean. If he shows up, let's see if he shows up to OTAs. And then battle. If he battles, keep him on the team. If he's a prima donna, it's like you haven't proven anything. And you got to pass into the next level, and you ruined it. And then you ruined it by doing some bullshit stuff off the side. And it's like we shouldn't give someone a job.
Like the kid. First of all, he's 21 years old. And
bullshit.
Oh, you were the same when you were 21?
I'm not.
And you were giving him $20 million.
I'm not in the NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, anything. I'm saying you're given an opportunity and you do that right away. That shows.
It wasn't right away. First of all,
it was in the offseason after he got drafted.
It
was in the offseason after he got drafted before he played a snap in the NFL. In my opinion,
you talking about the ATV or the arrest?
I'm talking about the ATV. That's a dumb mistake. And then when you're trying to road of recovery, road to create a relationship, you're drafted by a team. How are you not involved? When you want to be in the locker room, when you want to be at practice, even though you can't play, these are your bros. These are your teammates. You're drafted by this team. You have a contract. Why are you not involved at all? 0%. That is what I do not like Malik. I don't like him.
Here's the thing.
But if he shows me otherwise and wants to have a good work ethic, then get him on the team.
Yeah, let's be a meritocracy about it. Like, let the dude show up. If he.
I agree with that.
But let's move on. So, I think the consensus here is with Michael and Sheldon and potentially Cliff gone, it's going to be up to the young guys to step up.
Well, let's say Cliff is still on the team, right? But we don't know what his playing status is. Yeah. But yes, the young guys. So Frank,
Nas, Jaron,
and Nas is coming off a season-ending injury.
Yeah, and that dude picked off Aaron Rodgers, and we would have made the playoffs if that would have started. It would have counted. Excuse me. You know who else we lost? Just this is not the D line, but we didn't add it on this list. Deshaun Shedd, and Jeremy Lane, I think.
Yeah, Jeremy Lane. Fuck it.
That guy is. Anyway,
he's kind of a loose cannon, but he's talented, and he got an interception and broke everything that he owns in his body. So yeah, like
that guy lost all his arms and all his legs.
Yeah,
and never got back together again.
His spleen.
The guy turned into all the King's horses and all the King's men at once.
No, and Jeremy Lane's done a lot for the Seahawks in a lot of ways, but I'm not really sad to see
that dude
him
was
go.
number one on every. He was literally he had the number one, and he was always like the last cut in the preseason. So he finally broke through, and then that was a couple years ago. Anyway, let's switch gears. Let's switch gears.
Okay.
Let's switch gears and let's talk about the offensive guys we lost. So specifically Jimmy Graham and Paul Richardson. So Jimmy Graham got signed as a free agent with the Green Bay Packers.
Fair enough.
It's going to be pretty badass for them. I would, if I were a Packers fan, I would trade Jordy Nelson for Jimmy Graham.
Okay. I hear that. I think so we're not Packers fans, so we don't talk about how great they're going to be with him, but I am friends with a Packer fan, and he's super stoked. And just, like, weren't we super stoked when we got him? I mean, it was a shiny new toy, and we knew exactly what he's capable of, and I feel like we could have done better with him. However, we
undervalued Max Unger.
With our scheme. Oh, we definitely did. But still, with our scheme that we tried to stick with, which was a run game, when we didn't have one, it ruined his Seahawk potential. He still
was a Pro Bowl tight end. He's a Hall of Famer.
I know he had 10 touchdowns or more last season. I don't have that off the top of my head, but I mean, like, he had most touchdowns of any receiver
Rapid
on our
fire
team.
question. In a vacuum, Jimmy Graham, Rob Gronkowski.
I farted once. What?
In a vacuum, Jimmy Graham or Rob Gronkowski?
Rob.
Really?
100%.
You don't think he's a product of Tom Brady at all?
No. Have you watched him play?
Have I watched Rob Gronkowski play?
I'm asking.
No.
Okay.
Who is that?
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Rob fucking Gronkowski.
It was a rapid fire question.
Oh, because he blocks better.
Okay, I'll give you that.
He blocks better, and that's a huge deal when you're a lineman that can catch.
Yeah.
These aren't receive. Hines Ward is a receiver that can block. Doug Baldwin's a receiver that can block. Jimmy Graham is a receiver that cannot block, that is built like a lineman. That is athletic.
Yeah,
he cannot block.
And
that's
wanted
okay.
him to.
That's okay. He was fantastic with the New Orleans Saints. All pro.
Yeah.
And that was that situation. He comes into a situation.
He led the league for tight ends with touchdowns this year, didn't he?
Yeah, that's what I was just saying. Is it's like he had a shit ton of touchdowns, but we started actually. This is his third year with us. Granted, half his second season was cut short.
The fact that he came back from that injury is amazing.
Yeah, it's 2018, man. I don't care what injury you have, unless your head is chopped off, you're coming back within a year. It just seems Richard Sherman's good to go for OTAs.
Third never did.
Yeah, but he's not an athlete.
Okay. So let's talk about Paul Richardson. So I feel like Paul really came along this year as a deep threat and a really good receiver. Because he really didn't show up. Because I think he had a major injury. I think his second year.
No, he tore an ACL.
Yeah,
or let's just say CL because I don't want to put myself on record.
Yeah. So it's frustrating because I feel like we got him for his rookie contract and he finally showed out his last year.
And I think that's all it is. I think we knew what his potential was, and then last year he's like, yeah, I'm that good. I'm that motherfucking good.
Well, he was our highest draft pick that year.
Yeah, and then he got hurt.
Yeah,
and then we came back, and then he got hurt.
Dude, that dude broke his thumb. Remember that?
Yeah,
broke his thumb.
I don't think it was his pass. Was it his thumb? Either way, it was his fucking hand.
And I was at the Detroit game.
Came back in, game-winning touchdown.
Yeah, I thought he dropped that. I was like,
that was his thumb. Yeah. It wasn't the ball.
It's pretty
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
So,
and I'm going to miss him.
Yeah. So do you want to talk about what we need to do with the offense or who needs to step up, or do you want to move on to the
No, let's keep talking about it for a second.
Okay.
For real quick. So we just recapped a little bit of, like, we missed We don't have Michael Bennett, and we need Nas to show up. We need Frank to show up. Keep showing up. I think Frank's on an uptick that I'm really happy with. Malik,
I like his mean streak. It's never gotten to the point where it's like in the news or too hard to handle. He's a good teammate, but he's got that kind of, to use Michael Bennett's term, he's kind of got that dog in him.
He's a polished Bruce Irvin.
Oh, I miss Bruce Irvin.
I do too. But he's a polished one, right?
Yeah, he's better.
Wouldn't you say that?
Way better.
Yeah, Cliff, I think, is going to come back. He's had surgery. He's on recovery. And I'm not entirely worried about our defensive line because that's pretty much what we draft. We draft defensive line, so we're going to see a new player this offseason. So this conversation will go into...
The one thing I want to say, but like just to that last point you just made, if we're building a defense around a nucleus of Bobby Wagner and Earl Thomas and all these young guys, we're fine.
Yeah.
I think Shaq Griffin had a good second year. We just need another. We'll probably get young corners if we can, bolster up.
Well, we already have. We have Shaq. So
I'm saying we're gonna need another one.
Yeah.
Because we got rid of Lane. Yeah. So, but if we can either rush quarterback or lock down in the secondary, we'll be fine. Especially if we make a paradigm shift towards our offense to hold onto the ball.
Yeah. And I'm not too worried about Cam because whether he's on the team or not, we're going to pay for him. And if he's on the team, that's great. And if he doesn't get time, we got McDougal. And then there's someone with the double T, Tredrick Richardson.
Tremaine Johnson. No, I don't know.
It's a safety that we have.
I know what you're talking about.
I sound like a tard right now. But John Snyder is saying that this guy is a special teams star for us, and so was Cam Chancellor in his first year and didn't get any playing time. So we got players, is what John Snyder said. Is like don't rest.
Yeah.
Don't get mad at us. Don't mutiny right now. We know what we're doing, and I still have faith. It's just it's hard when you see 2010 and 11 draft come in, and then we have all pros, and then we've just dwindled down from there. But that's just the nature of the business.
He's been a little removed
from
the college game, and so it's natural to suspect that he won't hit just grand slams every time. So I want to kind of pull an audible here, Aaron. I want to talk about Richard Sherman.
Nice words.
I want to talk about Richard Sherman, but I think it makes more sense to talk about Richard Sherman after we talk about where do we go from here.
And we got to go from here on the offense right now with Jimmy Graham departure and P. Rich, which you just brought up, and our running game. That's important. And Russell, what do we build around our offensive line? And like you said, we still have Earl Thomas and Bobby Wagner. So as a whole, the Seahawks. We'll start with Russell. What does Russell need?
Okay, so I think that Russell Wilson is I'm a victim of this as well. He's one of the most underrated quarterbacks in NFL history. He the guy across from me right here will from the onset seem like he'll trade the craziest things for Russell Wilson after a draft in fantasy, and you feel like he took advantage of him, and then he ends up that the dude's getting like 30 points a game in fantasy
or 45.
And that'll be fun when fantasy comes back around. We'll talk about that. But
maybe we'll do our own TBD fantasy,
where you could draft Darth Vader
or Luke Skywalker, or Indy.
So I think Russell is in the middle of a contract, so we don't have to worry about that. But we need to facilitate his ability to do what he does, and so
can I talk?
Yeah, he's a great pocket passer, Aaron. What do you think about how we can help Russell Wilson be the best Russell Wilson that he can be?
Well, definitely the offensive line. I mean, that's for sure.
What do you think about the moves we've made in the middle of last season, but also in the offseason?
So let me give you my Lingliness. That is my last name. So Russell Wilson needs an offensive line. Obviously, you're going to have 5 guys in front of you and a tight end or 2. But he needs an offensive line that knows how to communicate, and that is an experienced offensive line. He has only had in the last 2 seasons rookies and sophomores, and those have been interchanging, and they haven't been able to work together. That offensive line, more than anything in any sport that I'm aware of, and I am a fan of sports, the offensive line. Well, one, football is the most.
Yeah, I get it.
Inch, literally, it's every inch, right? But it comes down to like each offensive lineman has a position and they have a task and they have a role per play, not per offensive series, not per half. This is your job on this play. You have to roll out. You have to engage and go to second level. You have to. It's incredible, and then you can micromanage the things that they have to do inside of that, which is this is a defensive tackle that knows how to get under you. So you need to get on top of him, get him really down there, or you need to get really underneath him in this tactic, or if he's gonna swim you, and you gotta know what is. That's impressive stuff to know as a lineman. You're not going to get that out of a freshman or sophomore lineman.
So let me ask you this: Tom Cable was just let go.
Thank God.
We haven't. Well, I mean, he had done some good things with garbage before.
When?
Well, we had some good.
Who did we get? Who did we get first, Marshawn or Tom Cable?
Oh, I don't even know. Actually,
Marshawn.
Fair enough. So then, that aside. You're talking about the chemistry and being able to grow together. Mm-hmm. What else needs to be done between now and the start of next season, whether it's draft, free agency, or stay the course?
Okay, so we got Fluker and we already have Brown. Fluker is a manimal.
Seems that way. Still not understand
visually.
Why are we his third team? I still don't understand.
Yeah, and that's probably what we're going to find out. But that's what the Seahawks do, I guess. If it's a mental or personality thing, Pete Carroll can handle it, I guess. But yeah, I'm excited that we did a free agency signing on the offensive line
for Fluker. Well, we did Dwayne Brown as well.
Yeah, no, that wasn't free agency. That was in the middle of the season.
Oh, that was a trade. You're right.
Yeah. So we have Brown, who immediately showed that he was the best lineman we have. And that comes with the only
Britt.
Dwayne Brown is better than Justin Britt.
Yeah, Dwayne Brown's like 32.
Justin Britt is the greatest third-year lineman we have, and everyone else was under 3 years, dude. Fair enough, so that is my point. There wasn't experience on our offensive line to know how to deal with a quarterback. Granted, most offensive lines don't know how to deal with a quarterback like Russell Wilson. Who can? I mean, you're supposed to do.
It's not like saying they don't know how to. He's not like he runs and scrambles immediately. He scrambles because the pocket breaks down.
But I disagree a little bit because that is his game. He wants to stay in the pocket. He really does. But once he does spin out, which is most often,
so you're saying compared to before the pocket breaks.
Compared to pocket quarterbacks, Russell Wilson will break out more often than it breaks because he can see that wide open flank on the left or that wide open flank on the right. And he's like, I can get another 4 or 5 seconds. And that's huge for a quarterback if I just spin out. Not that I'm getting pressure immediately, but I see the pressure coming up the middle because he just stunted. Mm-hmm. He just stunted over that defensive tackle. I'm going to roll out right where he came from. The linemen haven't reacted yet. He already did because Russell Wilson is experienced and he's smart. He's smarter than the linemen. And he's smarter than every lineman we have had for the past 4 fucking years. We got Dwayne Brown, who is a very smart left tackle, and we saw it shore up a little bit compared to fuck. So, like, we got the fact that we have Fluker, who has years under his belt, whatever may be going on up in the helmet. Pete Carroll maybe can fix that if there is anything. We don't know. You're a New York Giant fan.
Oh, we had the worst offensive line in the league last year.
I know. And they got worse. So
no, we got Nate Solder from the Patriots.
Oh, let's talk about the New York Giants.
That's all I know about him. Oh, and then
so
fucking Odell.
To recap, I think Russell Wilson's going to have a great year because I think we added a player in the midseason and added a Fluker, and then we have still Justin Britt, and we have players still on our team that have played with Russell Wilson in practice, and it's another year under their belt. I think that experience is going to shore up. And then, yeah, we got rid of Thomas Rawls, but he had his chance. And I love the kid.
No, goodbye.
Love that guy.
Bye.
I love it, but
Chris
goodbye.
Carson.
Yeah, Chris Carson is the real deal right now.
I want to switch to the skill positions. I want to ask you. So offensive line is obviously incredibly important. Actually, let me get your one sentence answer just to recap. Just
it's gonna be hard.
My original question.
Gonna do it.
Stay the course, draft, free agency between now and the start of the season.
For what?
What are our priorities for the offensive line?
For the offensive line?
One sentence. You just talked for like 5 minutes.
Stay the course.
Stay the course. Okay.
You're probably maybe give me one draft pick because we're probably going to have 7 or 8 draft picks. Fourth
round draft pick. Okay.
And I'm not and don't count me on the draft picks that we currently have because the way the Seahawks go, we're going to have 3 more draft picks than we currently have right now.
Well, that's why we now traded Michael Bennett for that tasty 5th round draft pick.
We're going to get a 3rd or 4th round lineman for sure, but I hope we go defense. first and second and third.
Coming up next episode, we're going to ask Marcus Johnson while he's in studio, why the fuck did we trade for him?
Yeah, Marcus Johnson's coming over.
Who the fuck are you?
By the way, that's who we got for Michael Bennett.
In addition to that tasty draft pick.
And some silly late draft picks.
So let's talk about the skill positions. For our laymen in the audience who may not know the intricacies of the offensive line, let me ask you this. We're talking about how Jimmy Graham can't block. We're talking about what we want to do for Russell Wilson. So we're almost saying two different things. Do we want to block? Do we want to start focusing on the run game, or do we want to start focusing on more of a pocket passing offense? So
definitely run game, and Pete Carroll's already saying that. He's been saying that. He said that before he came here. You get a
some of his actions wouldn't dictate that. No work on the offensive line. No.
That's what's been our Seattleite Seahawk fan argument for about a year and a half. It's not so much that he's going in another direction. It's that you're not doing what you say you want to do. And that a lot of that falls on Tom Cable. Because Pete Carroll's a defensive head coach, right? So Tom Cable was the second head coach. He's the assistant head coach of the team and the lineman coach. So that falls completely on him why he's not on the team anymore, and why Pete Carroll is saying we're going back to running the fucking football.
Well, we just got an offensive coordinator who was the quarterback's coach for the Indianapolis Colts, who was definitely a throwing offense. So that'll be interesting.
It'll definitely be interesting, and the way we're resetting our offense right now, looking at it, getting rid of a wide receiver. Not getting rid of like we threw him out, but retaining. We
got Marcus Johnson.
Yeah. He had 5 catches, and one of them resulted in a fumble.
It's only 5 more catches that I got in my first year of the NFL.
That's true. I mean, that means you're 4 catches away from being in the NFL.
You only completed the 40 in 4 seconds more than me too.
But yeah, I mean, we're gonna be running the football. That's what's going to happen, and that's not going to change with Pete Carroll, regardless of the ebb and flows that happen under his reign with the running the football. I mean, Marshawn's gone. It's been turbulent since he's been gone. It's clear as day.
You didn't
we don't have
fond memories of the Eddie Lacy era.
I have fond memories of behind the line of scrimmage and be like, yeah. Nothing past the line of scrimmage. Do I have fond memories of? And God bless the guy. I mean, he tried his heart out, but his heart, was too.
If you paid me $50,000 to lose 12 pounds, I would go down to 1 pound. And I would disintegrate, and I would turn into dust.
Benjamin
and I would just be a pile of money.
Ian Button.
So.
No. So, like, the offensive line is a huge deal. The running back situation it's Chris Carson right now. I don't need us to draft anybody.
Yeah, I want Saquon Barkley.
And you've been always, since we've known each other, someone that's just like, any great athlete can be a running back.
Yeah, I feel that way.
Expound.
I'm sorry?
Expound on it. You can explain it better than I. You're sitting right there.
Well, from what I understand about the transition from college to the NFL, is the most transferable position is the running back. You can see examples of that with Todd Gurley, Ezekiel Elliott. So I think, obviously, the offensive line is going to be the biggest factor in whether or not you're successful. You can, again, see that in Ezekiel Elliott. And then, if you look at Todd Gurley, had a great rookie season because there was no pressure and they were losing, and he would do really well in garbage time. I think he won Rookie of the Year. Mm-hmm. But then, when Sean McVay came, they revamped the shit out of their offensive line, and then he came back and won Comeback Player of the Year or whatever he did. Mm-hmm. So I would agree that it is, if you're a good athlete with a good head on your shoulders, my favorite running back in the league is by far Le'Veon Bell. And that's because of his ability to have the patience in the pocket and let the holes develop.
And I know what you mean. By pocket, you meant just behind a lineman.
Behind the line,
yeah,
yes.
Not really because he's extended out or left. And, man, his patience is, and they say it in every game you watch, is spectacular. Yeah. I feel like we will create a running back, and I think we already have one.
Chris Carson had a great motor. He reminded me of David Johnson.
Yes, David Johnson 100%, and we just didn't see enough of possibly receiving. David Johnson, pretty much a wide receiver talent that is a running back body that could also run the fucking football, which I'm jealous of. And anyway, So, yeah, and then we still got Earl and Bobby, and that's going to shore up our defense. I'm pretty solid still, and regardless of the departures that are so obvious. I'm not that worried because we are a team that has still built things out of nothing, and they come out of where we don't even know as fans.
And Bobby Wagner, if he hadn't gotten hurt, would have been the Defensive Player of the Year.
Oh,
absolutely.
Oh, 100%. Everyone agrees with that.
Knew
That's not even...
People, like, we had a couple of injuries and we fell off. We rebuilt, and that's why I'm the most excited. We're in a rebuilding year when, if you buy into power rankings, we were after the Dwayne Brown trade and we beat the Eagles, we were the quote unquote number one team.
Yeah.
And I'm not worried. This is a lot easier of a rebuild than it was in 2011.
I'd be surprised if we don't make the playoffs.
Oh, I think it's gonna be hard. I think that we're the worst team in our division.
And let's talk about that real quick. So we basically talked about the Seahawks in the offseason, which we can think of in the last 35 minutes. Let's talk about the landscape in 30 seconds and what it would take the Seahawks to get to. Well, one, it's probably the wild card game, right? Because the Rams look terrifying.
I think the Rams. Yes, I would.
Their defense looks fucking terrifying.
Yeah, it's amazing. And oh my god,
Aaron Donald,
and Dominican Sue, Marcus Peters, and Aqib Talib. They did lose Alec Ogletree to the New York Giants. So I think they're going to obviously win the division. And I hate that. I hate that so much. But I will say this: it's got a 25% chance of blowing up. Mm-hmm. And so
it does.
Yeah, I was hoping they'd get Odell Beckham Jr., but apparently today they got Brandon Cooks from the Patriots. So
that makes me think
that is huge. That makes me think that
huge.
The Patriots are going to get Odell Beckham Jr.
That means the Patriots are going to make it to the Super Bowl. You realize that, right?
Yeah.
They go to the Super Bowl every time they drop one of their best players.
Yeah, no, it's so true. Deion Lewis will become the new Ian Turner will become
that's the Ian you're talking to.
Yeah, Chris Hogan will. Oh God, like lacrosse players play receiver for that team.
Yeah, that's incredible.
So yeah, I think they'll win the division. I think it's crazy. I hated the 49ers when it was Jim Harbaugh and Colin Kaepernick. Mm-hmm. I kind of like this team. Like I've always rooted for Jimmy Garoppolo, Kyle Shanahan, John.
You've always rooted for Jimmy Garoppolo.
I remember when I was at your house and we watched the Chiefs just demolish the Patriots in Monday Night Football, and Jimmy went in. It was his first game. He came from Northern Illinois, the school Tony Romo went to, and I was like, oh, I like that kid. Like he was second round pick. I was like, he's the new Tom Brady. Blah blah blah. And I fucking hate Tom Brady, so I wanted him to do well. And so it's cool. It's a cool story. It's a cool turnout for him that after being basically given the Aaron Rodgers treatment and being like stuck behind a Hall of Fame quarterback, he gets to go to another franchise, like a marquee team. So I'm happy for him, and he looks like he's a badass. So I think they will. I think
in the few games he does look like a badass.
I think they'll lie. I'll think they're second in our division, and then I think we will fight with. And then they have a really good young defense, and then goddamn Richard Sherman's on the team.
Yeah, and then we'll dedicate a whole segment to that.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that next time.
That's too much to talk about.
And then I think we're going to fight with the Cardinals. Cardinals were last in the division last year, but we forget.
Fight at the bottom of the pile.
We forget that David Johnson was hurt all year, and they had a roundtable quarterback. They got Sam Bradford, who will probably get hurt, but they'll probably
Larry Fitzgerald's coming back.
I wanted him. I was hoping, how a lot of players, i.e. Richard Sherman, will finish out the twilight of their career on another team in their division.
Yeah, except Richard Sherman's like 6 years younger than Fitzgerald.
I think Richard Sherman's about to find out that he's a good player, but Earl Thomas had that dude's back. That guy was a proc, Earl Thomas.
Earl Thomas had 10 dudes' backs.
Yeah, Earl Thomas is probably one of the top 3 safeties of all time.
And that's why I'm not worried about our defense because we're going to keep Earl Thomas, and he is phenomenal.
Yeah. So
anyway, there's that, and so you think it's going to be Rams and 49ers battling, and we might nip a little bit.
No, I think it's going to be Rams, 49ers, and us battling the Cardinals. But
I feel like both we're going to be nipping at them.
We might be the best division in the NFC.
Oh, we're right now the best division in the NFC.
I don't know, man. With the South's really good.
On paper, we're the best, I think.
So
look at the talent that's in the NFC West right now. We already talked about.
So let's rank the NFC South.
Okay.
So the Rams versus the first team. What do you think? The Saints? Who's better?
Who's their quarterback?
Drew Brees.
I know he's there's going
Alvin
to be a
Kamara,
moment. There's going to be a moment.
Blew up.
Drew Brees is like 40, bro. Like, he was really good this year, but there's got to be a moment.
Tom Brady is 42.
Tom Brady's the greatest of all time. If Drew Brees is right up there. I'm just expecting a drop off. I need to see it to believe it. That's
it's
all
going
I'm
to be
saying.
tough is what I'm
just
saying.
need to see it.
We might be the best. We might.
Defensively, we are the scariest division in football in the last fucking... Give me a decade.
I'll give it a 10% chance of 3 NFC West teams make the playoffs. So I'm giving us a 10% chance to make the playoffs.
That'd be incredibly difficult.
Happens all the time.
Three teams in the same...
Oh, yeah. Happens all
division.
the time. Happens all the time.
Okay.
So it's just 2 teams.
So 2 teams make a wild card.
Yeah, that happened 2 years ago with the NFC South. Or maybe it happened
That's
this
not
year.
all the time. All the time is last year.
And then it happened with the Giants. It happened with the NFC East a couple years ago when the Giants won the Super Bowl. Happens all the time.
Okay. Well, Seahawks are going to win
it's
the
only
Super Bowl.
one more.
Seahawks are going to win the Super Bowl next year, Ian, and that is all I have to say about that.
They're going to beat the London Silly Nannies.
The London Silly Nannies. All right, well, let's stop talking about football for a second, and let's do a power run through on just the Seattle sports landscape real quick. So we possibly get an NHL team, which is pretty much, that's going to happen. 33,000 season ticket holders. Deposits for a potential draw. Obviously, we're not going to get an arena. That's 33,000. Super excited about NHL. Are you excited? Yay or nay?
I love going to Seattle Thunderbirds games.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite favorite instance of watching sports ever was watching a hockey game, even though I don't follow hockey. It was watching the gold medal game in the 2010 Winter Olympics between the United States and Canada. No, in 2010, it was men's. Speaking of which, though, I was in Salt Lake City this year, and I watched the women's game, and that game was amazing.
Dude.
And we won that game. The game I'm talking about, we lost.
Hockey is so fun.
It is. It's like putting jetpacks on soccer players. Like, giving them weapons
I'll take it.
and armor. I'm all about that.
This is where the universes cross.
That's why I started playing lacrosse.
Yeah. No. Okay. No. Here. So we could get the NHL, which leads to the NBA, which there's not a human being that it. Well, that's stupid.
David Stern.
I was gonna say there's not a human being in Seattle that wouldn't want them to be the Seahawks or the Sonics, and then I realized I've yet to meet a Seattleite working when I've been downtown and be like, hey, where are you from? They're like, Arkansas or Mumbai.
No, they all say San Francisco.
Or San Francisco.
Yeah.
Like, they're just no one's from here anymore. And it really bugs me.
gentrification.
Yeah. Which actually, real quick, NHL, the Las Vegas Golden Knights.
They made the playoffs.
Yeah, they did make the playoffs, and here's what they're dealing with real quick. This is really important, and something we need to keep in mind, considering our demographic is completely a different landscape than it was a few years ago in Seattle, which was more local, say 10 years ago, now more transient, coming from other places.
Are you saying you worry about immigrants?
Immigrants from other states with cities, yes, I am.
This is not a political show. I was being facetious.
So the Las Vegas Golden Knights, they have been dealing with a lot of their fan base, quote unquote fan base, is not actually fans of the Golden Knights. It's because they have such a high turnover in their city of people that are visiting from other cities that are fans. So they plan their trip around, the Montreal, whatever, Canadians are playing. Let's go to Las Vegas for a weekend or a Wednesday, because every day is a weekend. That is their problem. All their season ticket holders are reselling their tickets. They're not actually at the arena.
Yeah, but we won't worry about that. Seattle has amazing fans.
Yes, we do. However, it is a huge thing right now to buy tickets and resell them with brokers, like companies that are like strictly that's what they do. And we are in a city that's blowing up so fast that we actually have to be aware of it. I'm still on you. I agree with you. Our fandom is so solid in this city, and it has been for almost every sport. Still showing up and selling out Safeco on opening day. Haven't been to a playoff game in 17 years. However, when a new opportunity, a business opportunity arises that's never been here, NHL, got to worry about that as an organization and get off on the right foot. That's all I'm worried about. And I want to say that on my NHL topic.
Yeah, I think we can leave it there. I think it's going to be an interesting opportunity. I'm confident in the team behind it, and Seattle, in my opinion, is one of the most premier cities in our nation, and it needs an NHL.
I would say the world. I'm
in
biased.
the world. We're one of the biggest. We're one of the biggest tech hub. Microsoft, Google,
Amazon,
like
Costco,
Boeing,
the Pyramid
Starbucks.
Game.
We're the center of another
F5
industrial revolution, but it's the technical
Tableau software.
Yeah, that's a deep cut.
That hit your programming nerves right there.
It did. My data viz.
I don't know what the fuck they do.
Data visualization.
They make tables.
They do.
French.
Anyway, so I think we deserve it.